All right, today we're going to dive into a really fascinating and honestly pretty provocative idea from the Lavar Institute. It's called the Banana Theorem, and it's a completely new way to think about our own minds, our limits, and why modern life can feel like, well, like you're about to explode.
So let's just start with a question that I'm pretty sure everyone has asked themselves. Why does everything feel so exhausting? You know that feeling, right? That constant burnout, like you're always stretched to your absolute breaking point? Well, it's not just in your head. And according to this theory, there's a deep, almost mathematical reason for it.
So where does all this pressure come from? Well, the theorem gives a name to the source of all this collective exhaustion. It calls our modern world a burnout machine. And the name they give this machine, whoa, it's called the predatory architecture. And yeah, it's supposed to sound intense. Because the theory argues this isn't just about having a stressful job or a tough week, it's about the fundamental design of our entire society. So what exactly is this predatory architecture? Well, think of it as a system. It's in our schools, our workplaces, basically everywhere, that's built on a really dangerous, flawed idea. That your creativity, your focus, your emotional energy are all infinite resources that can just be mined endlessly. It assumes that thinking is free, that feeling has no actual cost, and the theorem says that is a fatal mistake.
To really get why that's such a huge error, we have to look inside our own minds. Because according to the theory, we're all constantly trying to manage two very different, often competing worlds at the same time. And here they are, these two operating systems running inside you. On one side, you've got the world of feeling. It's smooth, it's continuous, kind of like a river. It speaks the language of emotion, mood, and momentum. Then, on the other side, there's the world of structure. This is your logical mind. It's all about discrete steps, rules, hierarchies, kind of like computer code. And here's the key. You need both of these to actually function as a human being.
This ability to hold both worlds at once has a fantastic name, polyristicity. It basically means one medium, many flows. The whole point is that we're not one or the other. We are designed to be both, to live with that smooth flow of emotion and the rigid logic of structure, hopefully in harmony.
But, and this is a huge but, here's where things get really interesting. That harmony has limits. And understanding those limits, well, that's the absolute core of the Banana Theorem. This is where we finally get to the banana region.
So here's the crucial insight. Neither of these worlds is infinite. Your capacity for feeling and your capacity for logic, they both have a hard ceiling, a hard stop. Let's break that down. Okay, limit number one is what the theory calls the smooth ceiling. The best way to think about this is like an emotional circuit breaker. It's the absolute maximum amount of feeling, stress, excitement, or intensity you can possibly handle before you just get completely overwhelmed.
And then there's the other side of the coin, the hierarchical ceiling. This is your brain's processing limit for logic. It's the maximum number of complex decisions, rules, and to-do lists you can juggle at once before your mental wiring just starts to fray, and you fracture. Now here's the cool part. Imagine you plot these two limits on a graph, your emotional capacity on one axis and your logical capacity on the other. Now, because they affect each other, right? High emotion makes complex logic way harder, and vice versa, so they don't form a simple square. Instead, they intersect to create this curved, bounded safe zone for you to operate in. And yes, this is exactly why it's called the Banana Theorem. That shape, that's your sweet spot. That's the banana region.
So what happens when that predatory architecture we talked about pushes you outside of this safe zone? Well, the theory says there are two ways you can fail. If you go past your emotional ceiling, you get what's called the exploding heart, that feeling of total burnout, being utterly overwhelmed. But if you breach the logical ceiling, you get the shattered mind. You know, analysis paralysis, confusion, where you literally cannot make another decision. Does any of that sound familiar? Yeah.
So it's pretty clear that staying inside that banana region is critical. But here's the catch. It's not free. The theorem argues that just being a coherent person, just existing, has a real physical cost. And it's paid in a very specific kind of currency.
And that currency is called coherent strain. This is such a brilliant way to reframe mental fatigue. It's not just being tired. The theory says it is a real thermodynamic energy cost. It's the energy you're burning every single second of every day just to hold yourself together as a single, coherent you.
But here's the beautiful part. Spending this energy isn't just a loss. When you spend that coherent strain on a truly authentic struggle, a challenge that's meaningful to you, you create something incredibly valuable. The theory calls this Lavarian gold. It's not money, it's not status. Think of it as the indestructible proof that you've overcome something real. It's the receipt that shows you have truly lived.
And this brings us to what might be the single most powerful idea in the entire theory, captured right here. You are not what you are what you have paid for in the currency of coherent strain. Your identity isn't just some static label. It's the sum total of the struggles that you have genuinely paid for with your own energy.
So, this is all fascinating, but what are we supposed to do with it? Well, the Banana Theorem isn't just diagnosing the problem. It's also offering a solution. It's kind of a manifesto for a more sustainable and ultimately a more human way of living.
And it really boils down to 3 core principles, what the theory calls a new geometry of grace. First, acknowledge the cost. You have to stop pretending that thinking and feeling are free. They are expensive. Second, respect the limit. Get to know your own personal banana region and respect its boundaries. And third, and this is huge, value the struggle. Start seeing real difficulty not as a failure, but as the only way you can possibly create real value, that Lavarian gold.
And so we're going to end on this question, a question the theorem asks each of us to bring into our own lives. When you look at your work, your relationships, your own inner world, are you operating inside that sustainable, life-giving space, or are you constantly being pushed right to the breaking point? The Banana Theorem, if nothing else, gives us a new language and a new map to hopefully find our way back.